Good morning. This is a tutorial about tape. At least a couple of different kinds of tape. I'm going to talk to you about masking tape, and later in the video I'm going to talk about Scotch tape. Now, why would you have, Scotch tape and masking tape in your art room? Well, here's what I do with them. I had this is the large size Dylusions art book, and when I first started out, I was doing a lot of spray with those water soluble inks, and the ink would slide down the middle of the page. I can't find one that's where it's done that. Oh, you see that? Where it would just bleed through from whatever page I was doing. Obviously I have some pages one direction, some pages another, but you see that? So I was not happy with that. Some people don't mind. I did. So I started taping all the seams. And I hope you can see this edge here. That's masking tape on one side, and then masking, it just slid down the middle. And it isn't a perfect solution for that, but it does simplify things and does provide some protection for mediums going through the seam of an art journal. I guess the other thing to talk about is the kind of tape you're using. So masking tape, you may or may not know, comes in many kinds. This one is ordinary masking tape. I believe it came from the dollar store. It has reasonably good adhesion to things. You can see it sticking to my hand. It's an everyday household art item. There are painter's tapes, those blue tapes or green tapes that theoretically have less adhesion, but I warn you that may not be true. This particular tape is one my husband picked up for me, and it is exterior painter's tape. So he thought this is what I was looking for because it said painter's tape, but because it's exterior, it's just as sticky as the ordinary stuff. So he was doing the best he could. This is masking tape got on the bandwagon about washi tape, and they started making decorative tapes. Now, you can do something with that. That's easy to figure out. I would say, that's a nice pattern. You could put it anywhere, right? In fact, I might use it in the next segment. So these tapes are for blocking things off. Now, I'm not talking about the special kinds of tape that you use when you're watercoloring. That's not the same stuff. Okay, there is fancy tape to do that, but I also use it as an edge. I actually saw Peg Robinson doing this, and she kind of put a torn edge along her the edge of her paper and created a border like that. Now, this is done with this stuff, okay? And I'm going to bring that up here and hope that the camera focuses on it. And I don't know if you can see that. It's got a nice torn edge on it, and that I really like. But it definitely lifted the paper. And this is watercolor paper, so that was okay. It allowed for some paper to come off. It didn't just disintegrate. But for some kinds of paper, maybe not such a good thing. So I would, the thing I would suggest is that you, if you still want to put it on a paper in some fashion, but you want to make sure that it comes off again, and that's to put the tape on a cloth surface. Now, normally I wouldn't do it on these sleeves, but your jeans work really well. You know, something like that. Probably doesn't. Sorry, I have dogs who want out of the room. Oh, I know. Your life's terrible. Here, go. My apologies. So where was I? Tape. Yes. You can reduce the adhesion on a piece of masking tape by putting it on cloth. You know, on my jeans repeatedly, and you can actually see the cotton from the jeans coming off. If you do that, then you're much less likely to have things have trouble coming off. The other thing you can do with masking tape is you can. 2 seconds while I find what I'm looking for here. Oh, it doesn't matter. You can take a stencil. Now the stencil's going to be difficult to see. There. I don't know. Maybe not, eh? Here. Can you see that better? I think so. And if you want only some portion of it on your paper, then you can use the tape to block off the piece of the stencil you don't want. And the good thing about this is, the unexpected good thing about this is when you do put this down, then you're only going to get this portion of the stencil. You see that? The pattern. And when you do put it down on paper, it sticks, but only a tiny bit, because it's only got a small surface to adhere to. So it helps you keep the stencil in place, and you don't tends to move around less. And then when you take it off, it's I've never had a problem taking it off. So that's another use for masking tape. And as I said, I don't mind the edge, the textured edge there. I think it's kind of nice, actually. But other people might. And occasionally I've had tape on something by accident, and it has pulled up, you know, a little bit of whatever I'm working on. You know, such is life. You know, most of this stuff is, and I say most, because I have an incredible ego, is not going in a museum, right, folks? We do this for ourselves. You know, we do this for to express how we're feeling about the universe and the world around us and our interior worlds, more often than not. All right, so that's the use of masking tape, and I'll be back in a second with the Scotch tape. Okay, so rather than do Scotch tape, I thought I would show you how to make kind of a decorative washi tape out of unmasking tape. If you're interested in the what I do with Scotch tape, there is another video out, and you can find that. I'll put it in the links below, and you can find that under hashtag AJOS. It'll be in the files on the Facebook page, and it says AJOS Back to Basics Scotch Tape. So here I am. I've just taped down masking tape onto my craft mat, and I put several different colors of yellow, which are very hard to see because yellow's hard to see anyway. But I wanted some variety in the background, and then I'm just gonna let that dry and come back and decorate it some more. Now, I didn't do anything fancy here or complicated. I didn't want, I tend not to want that. Um, uh, and let the layers speak for themselves. I'm using Gina B. Aaron's stamps here. And if you haven't discovered Gina yet, I recommend her to you. She makes stamps and stencils and many, many kinds of downloads. Um, and I really, yeah, I really enjoy her products. They're good quality, and I use them often. So, yeah, I'm just trying to decide where to put it. This is her scribble stamp, and if you work hard enough, you can read what's on it, and it's all very positive. But it's a nice big loose scribble as opposed to some of the scribble stamps which are tiny. Um, and then I'm going to use this little circle one that's really actually, once I saw it on the tape, I was sorry I hadn't just done that. But I think a variety is probably a good thing. So just stamping over here, and then once I'm done that, I'm going to show you how to store these, because of course they're not in a nice tidy roll. So they will still have quite a bit of stick on the bottom, depending on how clean your craft mat is. But I recommend, as with all washi tapes and things like that, that you put some other kind of adhesive down as well, because these things don't tend to stick. Masking tape particularly dries out after a few years and cracks and pulls away from whatever it's on. So I recommend that you matte media it down, and that it doesn't stop it from happening, but it does simplify it. So here I am. It's a very, I'm just going to wrap it around this faux credit card. It isn't even a real plastic credit card. It's one of those fake ones you get sent in the mail to try and entice you to get a credit card. But it's good for smushing around paint, and so I have several stashed in my drawers, and I just pulled one out and wrapped this masking tape around that. So I think that's really all I have to say here. Yeah, if you're interested, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, a comment so I know you were here, and a subscription if you think you might be interested in hearing more from me, hearing and seeing more from me. And I will be continuing, I believe I will be continuing this series on the basics of mixed media. And so if you're interested in that, they'll be in the files on Art Joy of Sharing, or you can subscribe to my channel. If I would be interested to know if you have some other thing that you do with masking tape that I hadn't thought of. I'm always curious and interested to learn some new thing. So if you want to leave me that in the comments below, that'd be fun. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next video. And thanks for stopping by, and maybe we'll see you in the Art Joy of Sharing Facebook group. And I'll put the links to those things in the description box below as well. All right. See you next time.